I found my own lost twin. In a viral video, it started like any other lazy evening. I was scrolling through social media, watching random videos, and procrastinating on everything I was supposed to be doing. Then I saw it, a short clip of someone laughing at a party. At first it seemed like just another funny video, but then I froze. The person on screen looked exactly like me. Same face, same smile, even the same way I scrunched my nose when I laughed. My heart skipped a beat. Was this some kind of joke? Or had I just stumbled onto something life-changing? I couldn't stop replaying the video. It was a clip from a friend's story. Someone had shared it on a public page about funny party moments. In it, a group of people were standing around laughing at a joke, but my eyes were glued to one person in the frame. Me. Except, it wasn't me. It couldn't be. I hadn't been to any parties recently, let alone the one in the video. And yet, there they were, moving and laughing like they were a carbon copy of me. I took a screenshot and sent it to my best friend. Does this look like me, or am I losing it? Her reply came almost immediately. Wait, is this a prank? That's literally you. Nope, I replied. I have no idea who this is. I just found the video. She sent back a string of typing dots, then, that's insane. You have a doppelganger, or maybe a long-lost twin? I laughed at the idea at first. I mean, the odds of having a secret twin were slim to none, right? But the more I stared at the video, the harder it was to shake the feeling. There had to be an explanation, and I was determined to figure it out. The more I thought about it, the more obsessed I became. I saved the video, zoomed in, slowed it down, and watched every detail. The resemblance was uncanny. It wasn't just the face. There were little quirks like the way they tilted their head when they laughed. It was like watching myself on screen, but not. I needed answers. My first step was figuring out where this video came from. I scoured the comments, looking for clues. Most people were just laughing at the joke in the clip, but one comment stood out. Ha ha ha, classic name. Always stealing the spotlight. Name. That was something to go on. I searched the name on Instagram, hoping to find something. After scrolling through dozens of profiles, I finally found one that matched. The bio had a location, Seattle. And as I looked through their photos, my stomach did a flip. It was them. And every picture felt like looking into a mirror. But here's where things got tricky. What do you even say to someone who might be your twin? Hey, we've never met, but I think we're related. It felt absurd. Still, I couldn't just leave it alone. I crafted a message. Hi, this is kinda random, but I came across a video of you and you look exactly like me. It's probably nothing, but I'd love to talk to you about it if you're up for it. I stared at the send button for what felt like an eternity before finally hitting it. And then I waited. Hours turned into a full day with no reply. I tried not to get my hopes up, but I couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than just a coincidence. Just as I was about to give up, my phone buzzed. It was a notification from Instagram. They replied. The message read, "Hey, this is wild. I just saw your profile and wow, we do look alike. What's going on here?" My heart raced as I typed back, "I don't know, but the resemblance is insane. Do you know if we might have any family connection? Maybe something we don't know about." Their reply came quickly. "I've never heard of anything like this, but now I'm curious. My parents never mentioned anything about siblings. What about yours?" That question hit me like a ton of bricks. My family situation was a little complicated. I'd grown up knowing I was adopted, but my parents never talked much about my biological family. Could this person be connected to me? I decided to be honest. I was adopted, so it's possible. I've never looked into my biological family before, but this makes me want to. The next message floored me. Wait, I was adopted too. We both went silent for a moment. Well, as silent as you can be in a text conversation. It was a strange, almost overwhelming realization. Two strangers, separated by miles, adopted into different families, and now staring at what might be the missing piece of a puzzle we never even knew existed. "Do you think we could be siblings?" I finally asked. "There's only one way to find out," they replied. "Want to dig into this together?" Over the next few days, we became amateur detectives. We compared notes about our childhoods, our adoptive families, and anything that might hint at a connection. The more we talked, the more eerie the similarities became. We were born in the same year, just a few months apart. We'd both been adopted from agencies in the same region, and we both had this habit of tapping our fingers on tables when we were deep in thought. The conversations felt surreal. It wasn't just our looks that lined up. Our personalities, quirks, and even some of our preferences were strikingly similar, but there were still too many unknowns to say for sure. We decided the only way to get definitive answers was through a DNA test. We ordered kits and agreed to take them on the same day, though we both knew it would take weeks to get the results. Those weeks dragged on like years. Every time my phone buzzed, I jumped, hoping it was the notification we'd been waiting for. Finally, the day came. I opened the app, my hands shaking, and stared at the screen. There it was, a 99.9% match. Full siblings. I called them immediately. "It's true," I said, my voice shaking. "We're twins." On the other end of the line, they were laughing and crying at the same time. "I can't believe this is real. How did we not know? How did this happen?" The sheer emotional weight of the moment hit both of us like a tidal wave. Years of separation, questions we never even thought to ask, and now, finally, answers. But just as we were basking in the excitement, another unexpected twist came. During one of our conversations, they said, "You know, my adoptive parents told me something once. They mentioned that my biological parents weren't just regular people. They were part of something bigger, like influential in some way. Did your parents ever say anything like that?" I froze. My adoptive parents had hinted at something similar when I was younger, but I'd never pushed for details. Now, with everything that had come to light, I couldn't ignore it anymore. Make sure to like the video and subscribe so you never miss more shocking and real stories like this one. The revelation about our biological parents being influential sent me spiraling into curiosity and a little bit of anxiety. Who were these people who had given us up? And why had our adoptive parents kept their identities so vague? Together, we decided to dig deeper. They reached out to their adoptive parents first, asking pointed questions about what they knew. At first, the answers were vague. They were young and couldn't keep you, or it was a private adoption. But when pressed, their mom finally admitted something startling. "Your biological parents were very prominent. They wanted to keep things quiet. That's why it was a closed adoption." I couldn't let it rest after hearing that. I sat down with my own adoptive parents and asked them directly, "Do you know anything about my biological parents? Anything at all?" My mom hesitated, which was rare for her. We didn't want to bring it up because we didn't think it mattered, but yes, we know a little. They were well known in certain circles, but there were complications, legal ones. Legal complications? That was new and worrying. When I shared this with my twin, they had the same reaction: confusion, concern, and a desperate need to know more. We started combing through public records, searching for clues that might connect our story to any high-profile families. It was a long shot, but we were relentless. That's when my twin found an article buried in a digital archive from over 2 decades ago. The headline read, "Scandal Rocks Influential Couple Amid Allegations of Financial Fraud." The couple's names were familiar. Familiar because they matched the names listed on our birth certificates. Finding the article was like opening Pandora's box. The more we read, the clearer it became that our biological parents weren't just influential, they were infamous. The article detailed a high-profile scandal involving a powerful couple accused of embezzlement and tax evasion. Their story had dominated headlines years ago, before they seemingly disappeared from the public eye. Buried in the article was a brief mention of their 2 young children, who were said to have been placed in protective care during the fallout. That was us. The discovery hit hard. On one hand, we finally had answers about why we'd been given up for adoption. It wasn't just about being young and unprepared, but on the other hand, it was a lot to process. Our biological parents weren't heroes or victims of circumstance. They were flawed people who had made some devastating choices. Choices that ultimately changed the course of our lives. We both sat with this information for a while, unsure of what to do next. "Do we try to find them?" my twin asked during one of our late-night calls. "Do we even want to?" "I don't know," I admitted. "Part of me wants closure, but another part of me feels like this is enough. Maybe knowing the truth is where we stop." But it didn't stop there. A week later, my twin found something else, an active social media profile under our biological father's name. He was still alive, still out there, and apparently living a quiet, unassuming life far away from his past scandals. The question wasn't whether we could reach out, it was whether we should. The decision to contact our biological father wasn't one we made lightly. For days, we debated every possible scenario. What if he didn't want to hear from us? What if he'd moved on and we were just digging up a part of his life he'd rather forget? And worse, what if he didn't care? Ultimately, curiosity won out. My twin was the one who sent the first message. It was simple, cautious. "Hi, I hope this isn't too much of a shock. My name is their name, and I believe you might be my biological father. I recently discovered some information about our family and thought it was worth reaching out." We waited on pins and needles for his response. Hours turned into a full day with no reply, and I started to worry we'd made a mistake. But then, late that evening, the notification came. His reply was short but polite. "I wasn't expecting this message, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about you both every day. Please, let's talk." The floodgates opened. Over the next few days, we exchanged long, emotional messages. He explained the choices he and our biological mother had made, how their actions spiraled out of control, leading to the scandal and their ultimate decision to give us up. "We thought we were doing what was best for you," he wrote. "I know it doesn't excuse anything, but I hope you can understand." It was heavy, but it was also healing. For the first time, we had the full picture of where we came from. After weeks of messages, we agreed to meet in person. It was surreal, knowing that after so many years of mystery, we were finally going to come face to face with the man who had shaped our story from the shadows. My twin and I decided to meet him together, figuring it would be easier to navigate the emotions if we were side by side. The meeting took place in a quiet cafe, neutral ground where we wouldn't feel overwhelmed. When he walked in, it was like looking at a version of the future. His face was older, weathered, but there were undeniable traces of us in him. The same sharp jawline, the same dark eyes. He spotted us immediately and hesitated for a moment, his expression a mixture of relief and uncertainty. "Hi," he said softly, standing at the edge of the table. "Hi," we both said at the same time, exchanging nervous glances before laughing. The conversation started slow, with a lot of polite small talk, but once the initial awkwardness wore off, the flood of emotions came rushing in. He told us everything, the mistakes he'd made, the regrets he carried, and the relief he felt knowing we were okay. "I thought about reaching out so many times," he said, his voice breaking, "but I didn't think I had the right." We shared our own experiences, what it was like growing up without answers, the joy and shock of finding each other, and the journey that led us to this moment. There were tears, laughter, and even moments of silence where we just sat there, letting the weight of it all sink in. By the end of the meeting, it was clear that while the past couldn't be changed, there was still a future to build. "I don't expect forgiveness," he said, looking at both of us, "but I'd love to be a part of your lives, even if it's just a small part." We didn't have a perfect answer in that moment, but one thing was certain. This wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of something new. This journey taught me that the truth, no matter how complicated, is always worth pursuing. Finding my twin and reconnecting with our biological father changed the way I see family. It's not always about perfection, it's about the effort to heal and grow. Have you ever uncovered a surprising truth about your own life or family? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me for more incredible journeys. Thanks for watching.